and welcome to the Good Vibes Lifestyle live stream. I'm Leslie Klein, your host, and I am here to help you learn about the Good Vibes Lifestyle and help you raise your vibration so you can thrive. So thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. I've got a very special announcement to make today, so I will get right to it in just a minute. We are streaming live now to Instagram. You're either catching this on Instagram, Facebook. I have several pages of Facebook, on LinkedIn. Where else am I? Twitter. And of course YouTube. And so this program happens every week at 3 o'clock live, and this is something that is my way to, it's a little bit different than the Good Vibes TV show, which is found on the Good Vibes TV channel on YouTube. So this is different because it's more, how should we put it, informal, and more of a quote variety type show. I try to share a lot of different things about energy, and it's all about the Good Vibes Lifestyle, which is based on David R. Hawkins' map of consciousness scale, and also Esther Hicks, Abraham Hicks, emotional guidance scale. And basically, if you're not familiar with those, it has to do with vibration and energy. And how do we know where we're vibing at is by our emotions. Emotions are energy in motion. So our emotions tell us where we're vibing at. And basically these scales go from fear at the bottom, lower vibration, to love at the top, or enlightenment at the top. So the whole concept is, based on the law of attraction, where we're vibing at is how we attract. So if we're vibing in the higher vibrations of love, peace, joy, fulfillment, all these good feelings, we're going to attract those things into our lives. But if we're stuck in the lower vibrations of shame, fear, disgust, anger, hate, you're going to attract that into your life. So the way we create our lives is based on where we vibrate. So we're into the age of Aquarius now. So we're going to be learning more and more and being more aware of our vibration, of energy, and of how things work like that. So this show is all about what I'm wanting to start, the Good Vibes Lifestyle movement. And with that in mind, the big announcement is, and I wish I had a drum roll, is I don't know if you're aware of it or not, but there is such a thing known as the National Good Vibes Day, and that happens on October 30th. And so in recognition of that, I am going to host, and this is the big announcement, a summit to celebrate the National Good Vibes Day on October 30th. And this summit, I will be bringing to you different speakers that will be talking about ways to raise your vibration and how to celebrate raising your vibration and celebrating good vibes that day. So imagine all the people in the world tuning into the summit and practicing ways to raise our vibration. And by raising our vibration, that gets put out into the universe, put out into our world, and it's contagious. Just like a smile is contagious, just like laughter is contagious. In terms of energy, these good vibes and living this good vibe lifestyle will become more contagious, will become more of a movement. So this is my big announcement, and if you are interested in learning and getting kind of on the list for what's happening with it, or you want to be involved somehow, because I'm in the planning phases right now, I have the website, nationalgoodvibesday.com, and you could go there, and there's a place where you can actually put your email in there and your name and sign up on the mailing list so I can keep you abreast of things. And you can email me any ideas that you might have to celebrate National Good Vibes Day, or if there's a sponsorship, or if you want to speak at it. So these are all options. So I'm just really excited because this National Good Vibes Day, brand new opportunity to raise our vibes and really create and promote the Good Vibes lifestyle. So mark your calendars, October 30th, National Good Vibes Day, and stay tuned. Between now and then, I'll be letting you know more and more what the plans are. So I have some really great plans, and it'll be hopefully an 8-hour summit all day long, and you'll be able to catch the replay and that kind of thing. So I wanted to let you know about that. All right. So let's get on with the show, and thank you for the hearts and the likes. And remember, I do this using StreamYard, so that means you can put your comments wherever you're watching from, and then I can see them, put them on the screen. So what do you think about the Good Vibes National Good Vibes Day? Did you know that existed? And if so, is it something that you'd like to participate in or be involved with in some fashion? Please let me know. All right, so let's get on with it. I always like to talk about the astrological news of what's happening right now, and that's one of the values of this weekly broadcast, is to kind of tune you into what's happening energetically as far as the astrology. I do want to say that I am not an astrologer, but I do follow astrology, and anyone can follow the different parts of astrology and implement those ideas. Astrology is just, in my mind, a way to find the different energies that are happening in our world, right? The planets, the moon, the astrological signs. I mean, this is an ancient science, and there are several different kinds of astrology too. I follow more of the Western as opposed to the Vedic astrology, and I, just try to find out what's going on and then implement that, and just be aware of it so I can implement things in my life. So what I always love to follow is the moon. What's going on with the moon? Well, we're in the waning phase of the moon, and that means it's getting smaller. The full moon happened about a week ago, and the full moon was in the sign of Sagittarius, and I talked about that last week. Well, in just a week, well, actually, let's talk a little bit about what is good to do during the waning phase of the moon. So the moon energy culminates on the full moon, and you have a 5-day window, 2 days before the full moon and then 2 days after, to kind of work with that energy. When I talk about working with the energy, I mean doing meditations that are related to the moon. The moon you can kind of see as a spotlight or a focus. The moon rules our subconscious mind, so it's a great time to kind of uncover what's happening in our subconscious world and bring things to light. But the moon it's also, I kind of see it as like the new moon is when the seed is planted and then it starts growing, and then the full moon is when the flower, blooms and blossoms. And then after it blooms and blossoms, and we get into the waning moon, so the flower then becomes actually like a fruit sometimes, a fruit or a seed, and then that can be harvested. So during the waning moon is when we're doing integration work. We're integrating what we've learned, and we're also harvesting, the fruit of the seeds that we planted during the new moon. So that's kind of the cycle of how it goes. And, it is like a 28-day cycle from the new moon to the full moon back to the new moon. And that's our whole phase of the moon. So when you are in tune with that, like the farmers used to be, and witches are, and pagans are very in tune with the cycles of the moon, because it does influence it. Just like we're like 70 to 90% water, and the moon affects the tides. Well, they also affect the tides in our bodies, and that's why you hear about, psych wards going crazy or more crimes happening during the full moon, because the moon does really impact our lives. So if we're aware of where we are in the cycle, we can plan things accordingly. So now we're into that integration period, that harvesting period, and then getting ready for the next new moon. Now the next new moon happens in just a week. The new moon will happen next Thursday on June 6th at 8:37 a.m. Eastern Time, and it's in the sign of Gemini. So the moon moves every about 2.5 days through the next zodiac sign. So we go from Aries all the way to Pisces. So, it's the 12 different signs of the zodiac, and so every 2.5 days, then the moon is going into the next sign, in that order from Aries all the way to Pisces. So, we have a new moon in Gemini. So the qualities of Gemini. Gemini is an air sign, meaning, all of the 12 zodiac signs relate to one of the elements: air, earth, fire, or water. And so again, this is words to kind of describe energy and the energy in our world. So Gemini and Gemini people, you may know some people that are Gemini. Geminis are air signs, so they like to talk. They're very communicative. They are thinkers. Some of them can be very much chatterbox. And another interesting thing about Gemini, each of the zodiac signs also rules a part of the body. So Gemini rules the throat, the lungs, our breath, our hands, and the nervous system. So it's just interesting to know this. And if you ever do get an astrological chart, you can get them online yourself and do some self-study work, or go to an astrologer. We have all of the signs in our chart, so they just have different impacts. But usually we're looking at our sun sign, which is where the sun was when we were born. We're usually looking at our rising sign, which has to do with the time of day. And the rising sign has to do with your personality, how you come across. And then the moon sign, which is where the moon is in your chart, which kind of tells you emotionally, where your energies are, what your tendencies are. And by knowing your astrological chart, you get to know a little bit more about yourself. And by knowing yourself, you're able to navigate the world and create the world in a better way because you have more knowledge. So lots of stuff happening with Gemini. So in a week, we got the new moon in Gemini, and I'll talk more about that next week. Now the sun went into the sign of Gemini May 21st, and it's going to be there for a month. So we're in the season of Gemini. And, again, I talked about the air sign, being an air sign, and I see, Gemini is like a butterfly, flitting here and there and going all over. Here, let me share some other information about Gemini. Gemini has to do with curiosity and ideas. Geminis are very curious people. They're also very playful. So, that gives you a sense of what a person that is a Gemini is like. But the same qualities apply to the energy. So we're in this energy with the sun sign being in Gemini. The other thing that's really interesting is that on May 25th, just not too long ago, Jupiter, which is the beneficial planet, the benefactor planet, it's like the biggest planet in our solar system, went into the sign of Gemini and is going to be in that sign of Gemini for almost a whole year, till June 9th of 2025. So when a planet goes into a certain sign, you kind of blend them together to kind of get a sense of what that energy will be like. And so again, the Gemini, it's the air sign, it's the twins. So a lot of times the Gemini has like both sides of the story, or almost like, a twin personality, almost sometimes a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. So if you know some Geminis, you might notice that they almost have two different personalities. It's because of the twins. But they're very communicative. They're very curious. They love ideas. They're very playful. Gemini also rules travel. it also rules the airwaves and media. So with Jupiter being an expansive planet, a fortunate planet, it's a lucky planet, it's an abundant planet. It also has, it's the planet that rules the sign of Sagittarius, like we talked about last week. Sagittarius is a fire sign, but Sagittarius has to do with higher learning. So, we have these two coming together, and Jupiter, in that it rules the Sagittarius sign, which is a fire sign. So you have the energy of fire and air happening. So lots of energy. So this whole year, there's going to be a lot of expansion in terms of media, in terms of communication. And it's different because in the past year, it was in the sign of Taurus, which was an earth sign and very slow, and moving. But Gemini is air, think of the butterfly flitting around. So we're coming into this new energy, and it'll impact everyone, not just Geminis. So just be aware of that. I just found that very interesting. And, we want to be careful because we don't want to jump to conclusions. Let me see my notes here. The astrologers consider when Jupiter is in Gemini as in detriment, meaning it's not like the best, but I think it means because there could be information overload. Think of, Jupiter as expansive in the sign, an air sign. So you could have information overload, and we want to be careful not to jump to conclusions, although there may be times you might be right, but sometimes, it's just too much. And, also be aware of what you're listening to and watching on the media, because there's going to be a lot of propaganda, a lot of stuff happening. Of course, we know with the elections, we are being... our attention, what are they talking about? It's an attention economy where we're being, our attention is being grabbed, everything is wanting to take our attention. So we need to be aware of that and not just be like the butterfly flittering here, flittering there, but be a little bit more grounded and aware and conscious of, and mindful, right, of, where is my focus? What am I thinking about? What media am I watching? Because, what we input, affects the output. So it is important to be aware of that. Let's see, any other notes? So the shadow side of Jupiter is overindulgence or getting overboard with commitments. So just being aware of that this next year with Jupiter being in Gemini. Okay, so that's what I've got for you regarding the astrology. So be aware of all this air energy, lots of ideas, lots of learning, curiosity, humor. So it's just that time of the year with this with this Gemini energy, the sun and Jupiter. And then we have this new moon happening in Gemini, but we'll talk more about that next week. Okay, now let's talk about the Oracle of the Month. And the Oracle of the Month this month, and today's May 30th, so it's the last day I'll be working with this Animal Guides Tarot by Radley Valentine. And what do you think about it? Did you like this deck? I like the colors of it. Lots of greens and blues. But it's a tarot deck. So let's pull a card and ask Spirit for a message for our audience right now that are watching live, or if you're catching the replay anytime in the future. Let's see what message Spirit has for us. And the card is, Page of Air. Let me show you the card. Sorry about that with the lighting. And my camera doesn't want to focus. Okay, let me just read it to you. Page of Air. So this would be like Page of Swords in the Tarot. And keywords here are logical, truthful, curious, and undiplomatic. And the animal with this tarot deck, every card is related to an animal. The animal is the seagull. And it says, this is an intellectual challenge that calls upon your ability to think of a matching solution. If helpful information is put to you bluntly, accept the message without being bothered by the messenger. And I'll read that again. This is an intellectual challenge that calls upon your ability to think of a matching solution. If helpful information is put to you bluntly, accept the message without being bothered by the messenger. So let me read more from the book, Page of Air. So very interesting. We're talking about the air sign, Gemini, and all of that air energy. And here we've got the Page of Air. All right, let me find it in the book here. And the Page of Air, it says seagull. An intriguing intellectual challenge, kindness in communication, changes or delays that require your attention. This situation speaks to your ability to think your way through any challenge that's presented to you. Because emotions are not always engaged with the seagull, it's important to remember to be compassionate. In your haste to solve a problem, you could speak more harshly than you mean to, or helpful information may be delivered to you in not the kindest of ways. Check contracts very carefully and gratefully accept objective feedback. The seagull represents a person who is excellent at assessing and solving any intellectual problem in a flash. However, her desire to be of assistance and her purely analytical way of thinking means she might communicate her solution rather curtly. Logical, truthful, curious, and rather undiplomatic, she is resourceful in a pragmatic way that may accidentally leave out the pleasantries. She doesn't mean to be unkind. In fact, if she realizes she has hurt your feelings, she will be very apologetic. Just remember, she's brilliant and has great ideas. So heed the message and ignore the messenger. If you can see past her lack of compassionate communication skills, she'll be of great help to you. Seagulls are clever birds who learn, remember, and even pass on behaviors. As their name implies, they spend a good bit of time in the air over water. As water represents emotion and air intellect, they are seen as flying high above currents of emotion and evaluating situations from a very cerebral viewpoint. Very interesting. So I don't have a whole lot to add to that, but that does make sense. And I guess the message is, don't kill the messenger, but listen to the message. Be aware of what the message is. And with these tarot cards, or any oracle deck, if you get the first card and it doesn't make sense to you, or you need more clarification, and we could do it now. Let's ask Spirit, can you give us a little bit more clarification about this Page of Air so we can kind of implement it into our lives? Okay, so the next card that I picked is, why isn't this? So there we go. 6 of Air. Rescue cat mixed breeds. So the challenging times are coming to an end, and you can now breathe a sigh of relief. Let the past go and embrace the happier times ahead. 6 of Air. So that would be like 6 of Swords. And that's usually the card with the woman and the child in the boat, and the swords are in the boat, and they're crossing the water. And you're usually going, just like this has the cat in the boat, going from turbulent waters to calmer waters. 6 of Air. So let's read that and see if it makes any kind of sense. And, apply it to your life however it makes sense to you. Because, again, this is just the oracles and the tarot cards are talking to our subconscious mind, to our intuitive. It's kind of an intuitive language. All right. So 6 of Air. Again, the end of challenging times, a brighter future ahead, relocation, or travel. Most of the air cards leading up to this rescue cat have been a little challenging, but now you can breathe a sigh of relief. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, and you can make some exciting new plans. Don't allow yourself to be caught up in what has happened up until now. This is a time for you to just let go of the past and embrace the happier times to come. The Six of Air can also signify travel, especially over water, or relocation. I have experienced the joy of having a rescue cat join my home. Rescue agencies around the world do amazing work helping to heal and rehome cats and kittens. These feline balls of love show their gratitude by carving out a special place in our hearts that they fill with laughter and companionship. Like the Six of Water, this rescue cat has released the past and is happily off to a new adventure. Perhaps you could use a rescued adventure. Perhaps you could use a rescued kitty companion on your current journey. Well, I'm allergic to cats, so I'm more of a dog person. But yeah, that clarifies the Page of Air to me in relation to Jupiter being in the sign of Gemini, being the sun being in Gemini, and also the new moon coming up in Gemini. And this Jupiter, especially this next year, being in the air sign of Gemini, makes sense that the challenging times are now behind us, and now there's expansion. And we can breathe a sigh of relief. So that does kind of make sense to me. All right. So there you go. That is the oracle message for the day. And if you like any of these oracles, you can shop my Amazon store, and the way to get to that is just to go to www.goodvibestv. You'll see a shop my Amazon store button, and all of the oracles, oracle decks, tarot decks, books, things that are available through Amazon are listed there on the store, and it's a great way to support this channel, which I hopefully you're getting some good information from this and some encouragement and tips to raise your vibration. So every week I like to talk about a way to raise our vibration, and last week's tip was to meditate and journal on the full moon, and I gave you some prompts that came from Alina Alive. She's a YouTuber on YouTube. She has a channel and is an astrologer. So did you meditate and journal on the full moon? Very potent time to do it. And I had gave you those questions. So the next tip for this week is actually to send love and appreciation to your cells. As you may or may not know, on April 12th, I hit a tree with my husband's truck, totaled it, and broke my arm. It is getting better. I have a little bump, and my hand's getting better. I'm building strength back in it. And one of the things that I did to help heal was to send love and appreciation to my cells. I mean, I was actually, talking to because I busted my knuckles here, and massaging and talking to my body. I did the Ho'oponopono, which you say I'm sorry and I love you, please forgive me, thank you, and I was doing that, but I was also sending love to my cells and appreciation. And it's an amazing thing that our body does listen to us, and how we talk to ourselves. Sorry about my chair likes to droop. How we talk to our bodies is so important, because it does actually affect our health, and can help with our healing. So talk to your body if you're having issues like even wanting to release weight. Talk to your body and send love and appreciation to your body. And if your body is hurting in some way, send love and appreciation to it. This is so much better than calling yourself bad names, or criticizing yourself and saying, why was I so stupid that I did this thing? Cancel. What we say also impacts every cell of our body, and we want our bodies to work in unity and harmony together. And so that's so important. So that's my tip for the week. Send love and appreciation to your cells, to every single cell of your body, and notice, how do you feel after you do that? I'm betting that you are going to feel so much better, and it will raise your vibration and help your body heal and be in a thriving state, which is what our normal state is. All right, my friends, so that's my tip of the week, and I want to encourage you to live the Good Vibes lifestyle. Be aware of where you're vibrating, and if it's in one of, no matter where it is on the scale, see what the next better feeling is and strive to get to that. Just decide, choose to feel the next better feeling on the scale, and as you do that, you'll learn to thrive. So raise your vibration and thrive, and that is my message. We have a little comment here, and yes, let me share. This is from Anastasia. She says, great approach for healing our body, Leslie. Thank you so much, Anastasia, for watching and for sharing your comment. Yes, so I wish everyone a beautiful day and a beautiful week. We're still in springtime until the summer solstice later this month in June, but the weather where I'm at has been beautiful. The flowers are blooming, the butterflies are flying, hummingbirds are coming out. It's just a beautiful time of the year. Being out in nature, this is just a great time to tune into that and to raise our vibration and live the best life that we can. So again, thank you so much for watching. Have a blessed day, a blessed week, and I will see you next week on the new moon. Take care, everyone.